Frankenstein's Army is a 2013 found-footage horror film directed by Richard Rapphorst, written by Chris W. Mitchell and Miguel Tejada Flores. The idea for this film came from Rapphorst, who was scared of the Frankenstein story as a child. Later on, he would begin to think what an army of Frankenstein's monsters would look like, eventually settling on a World War II setting. This isn't his first attempt, however, as he previously began work on a supposedly comedy film titled Worst Case Scenario, that was neither released nor had anything to do with this film's plot, though both do share the same writer. Well, none of them have any ties to Army of Frankenstein, which will probably end up on here one day. I have more coverage of Frankenstein than I do vampires. I don't know how that happens, considering which one is more consistently brought up in films. The film is still a bit underground, but has begun to accrue a fair bit of notoriety, namely among lovers of practical effects. It should be noted that this is probably the widest co-production I've covered, as the United States, the Czech Republic, and the Netherlands were all involved. That many cooks surely can only lead to good things. So what's this film about anyways? This tale of biomechanical horror follows a Soviet reconnaissance squad as they push the Wehrmacht back. However, their path takes a dark turn as they discover a layer of science gone wrong, a residence of evil, the home of Frankenstein.
Sewing dead people together, giving them knives for hands.
Will they manage to avoid being turned into beasts of electric nightmares? Is there a more devious reason for being here? Will this film's style be able to overcome its lack of substance? Let's human wave for Mother Russia straight into this. We're put front and center with Dmitri, played by Alexander Ternetyev, who is here to record the adventures of his squad. A squad consisting of their veteran leader, Novikov, played by Robert Guilin, their Pole Sergei, played by Joshua Sass, Hon Ping Tang, who I believe is meant to be Mongolian, playing Ivan, Andrei Zayats as a troublemaker Vasily, camera assistant Luke Newberry playing Sasha, and finally their sniper Mark Stevenson playing Alexei. Most had bit parts or side character roles, though Andrei Zayats has the Eastern jobber casting on lock. Oh, and Joshua Sass here played Gallivant.
If I sing you the song, will you shut up? Way back in days of old, there was a legend.
Oh, do it for real!
Well, now I'm going to be expecting a musical at any moment. Well, what the hell brings them all out here? Hunting a German sniper, of course. And making sure they get only the most heroic and patriotic footage possible, showing the kindness and amazingness of the Red Army, well, ignoring the pillaging, beating, and drunken escapades of the Red Army. Also, it should be noted that this film does do a found footage style split between two cameras. I'm not a particular fan of that, however, I will say that while these parts probably get the smallest slice of the budget, they are still pretty solid and do a decent job. I mean, if you're making a spectacle movie, you should keep your budget pushing the spectacle. But they'll have to wait, as a transmission is received calling for help.
Dagobah 303, we read you. Over.
Which raises concerns as they've been struggling to raise anyone, and they're supposed to be the only squad out here. Well, I'm sure that's just normal combat stuff, like that corpse over there. Perfectly normal. Moving towards the source of the transmission only raises questions. Artillery damage, burnt nuns, and desecrated graves. It's as if someone or something has gone mad. Going inside, they discover the church is actually a factory, and while the trailer may have you expecting techno, the designs of what they find are pure metal. Such as this Zombot, which is not interested in being their comrade.
Let's put you out of your misery.
Nothing some handy-dandy full auto can't fix. However, it doesn't help Novikov, who is put out of his misery. Well, someone needs to lead, so Sergei gallivants into the position, much to the annoyance of Vasily, shaky as that command may be.
Bother. They're too smart to be in charge. Let's rush off. It's fun. We can always slit his throat later.
Throat slicing will have to wait as it's time to ask questions. Though shooting first isn't typically the best way to start off with questioning. Fuck it, we start rough, we might as well keep this train going. Mention a doctor, but know nothing about the red troops? Time to slice.
I just fed the animals.
Oh, you're red now, silly old man brain. I thought you were still white. Red soldiers are down here. I'm going to disappear now. Well, in this darkest dungeon, the party is surprised during an ambush. However, they remain resolute and are able to escape. Not that they're out of danger. So with Ivan wounded, the group hunkers down, and we get some not subtle foreshadowing from Dmitri. That night, 3 prisoners are taken, one of which is Ava, played by Christina Catalina, who is a nurse and tries to render aid to Ivan.
I'm sorry.
Tries being the most charitable word. Also, I just want to highlight this. It made me laugh. By the way, you remember Seekers from XCOM Enemy Within and how they loved taking out isolated snipers? Yeah? Alexei is dead. The attack is largely more noise than visual, though the usage of a grenade does manage to damage one of the zombots. The real damage is done by Sergei when he discovers a transmission device within Dimitri's pack. So, revelation time. Dmitri here is a captain, and he was to bring in this mysterious yet titular doctor. Though he can't be blamed for the squad being so outgunned, or I suppose out-armored, as even he didn't know the nature of what was being created. Also, I just love how Hans is just sitting there. We all know Germans are human GPS units, so lead the way, Hans. More monstrous attacks, more practical effects magic, and a nice headshot. Oh, look, a familiar face. Oh, look, a familiar face. Yes, apparently the creator of this film had some bad blood with Capcom due to a very similar enemy type in Resident Evil 8 Village. I'm not sure about the legality of that, but it is pretty fucking similar. Well, he's crashed and burning, so let's go deeper into the madness. Or at least Dmitri, as he's knocked down the shaft and his bag is taken. It's revealed that Dimitri's family was threatened, and if he hadn't taken on this mission, it was established earlier that the others were at risk, but they weren't aware until being told so by Dmitri. Meanwhile, he's known the whole time. Also, that last roll of film has like 30 minutes left, so better keep recording. Need to justify buying the talent for the creatures after all. And justify they do, as after discovering some live-in quarters, and I think the wounded German from earlier, Dmitri is hounded by the zombots, several in fact, including the most recognizable, Mosquito Man. I will say that while I would prefer the film not being found footage, it is a testament to the effects that even with the unpredictable camera work, they still managed to look amazing. Nothing I noticed appeared out of place or showed any costume airs. Oh hey, it's Ivan!
Hey, Ivan! What?
Well, that could have gone better, but at least Dr. Frankenstein, played by Carl Roden, is a generous host, feeding Dmitri and even giving him a tour of his workshop. Also, this isn't the original Victor Frankenstein, but a descendant. Also, I realize now while writing the script that the Teddy woman is meant to be Victor's mother. There isn't enough money in the world for that family therapy. Also, the doctor made a Dalek. Huh. And Vasily shows up to recreate DMC Devil May Cry.
Fuck you!
Don't do this.
Fuck you!
Don't do this.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Well, the Soviets are striking the area with artillery, so better start talking business. Killing off Vasily, the doctor's ultimate plan is revealed. With the aid of a Borgified Ava, the doctor believes he can create a utopia through merging the brains of a Nazi and a communist. Luckily, he has, I think, a Nazi on hand. And Sergei. Now this is a Frankenstein movie, so someone better start living with a few thousand volts. Well, the drugs are taking effect, and there is just enough time for one last experiment.
Maybe I will build this camera into your skull.
Whoa there, Victor. Pinhead is way ahead of you. All seems lost until Sasha appears gunning the doctor down. Not to save Dmitri, who is offed by a reanimated Sergei. No, he runs off. The film ends somewhat abruptly, with the worst effect of the film being shown last. I couldn't find a budget for this film, but it did premiere at Rotterdam's International Film Festival, January 26, 2013, in the Netherlands. The latest release would be Portugal, October 29, 2015. Most everywhere would go by Frankenstein's Army or some variation, such as Taiwan with Legion of Frankenstein. The film's life technically started back in 2004 with the filming of Worst Case Scenario. Gorehound Inc. would release a trailer in 2006, which was met with acclaim. However, financial problems shuttered the project in 2009, which would be torn torn down and reworked in the Frankenstein's army. The original script would take place in 2006 during the FIFA Cup between Germany and the Netherlands. A Nazi zombie attack would happen, and a North Sea island would be involved. While that may have been entertaining, I prefer what we got, though some of the imagery is interesting. They did keep around the general design of the Nazis though, which makes sense. Even in the trailers, which the original film had around 7K USD to play with, they look really good. Filming would be done in the Czech Republic around 2015 in Prague and Venaris, namely some museum named, I don't know how to say that, but I do recognize this. It's some sort of mining museum. I would take the tour. I'd take the tour. This is also the final film of Karel Belohochsky, who was the grinder and coal cart pusher in the film. The director would become ill during filming. The film received a mixed reception, as even those who praised it had criticisms. For me, the film does what it's out to do. It's a special effects film. It's here to wow you with effects and make sure you see them. Of course, you still need other things like a plot and characters, pointless things really. Though I'm sure there's some acid trip film out there that would disprove that, at least on paper. While the effects run a mix of being more on a goofy side and some being on a more threatening side, they are still impressive. The story that is provided is enough. You and I aren't here for philosophical discussion on, is a man entitled to a sweat of his brow? We're here for gore and biomechanical horrors. That said, my criticism lies more in the abrupt ending. The film also tends to just drop in the middle of something, only to be like, we're here now. It's a criticism and praise when I say I wanted to see more. Hell, the titular character is only really in the film for the last 20 minutes, not counting his earlier appearance. Also, despite having 2 cameras, we only stick with Dimitri. We never see how the rest got captured. I know it wouldn't make much sense for them to film, that you could bullshit that they need footage to save their families, and the Sasha, who took Frankenstein's head, could be the one filming still. I honestly think just foregoing the found footage for normal filming would have worked better. At the end of the day, I would prefer to have seen Sasha's flight from the compound and gotten more finality with seeing the destruction of Frankenstein's lair by the artillery. Overall, this is a solid film worth checking out. If you're a gorehound or have the slightest interest in practical effects work, this film is a must. The problems don't hinder in the moment viewing, and I suppose it's better to have a film do its job well than be twice as long and annoy me. You don't need to be of 2 minds to enjoy this Residence of Evil. Near a village. Look, I'm just saying, it looks very similar, Capcom. Come the fuck on.
I'm liberating you rebels from fascist oppression.